Okay, now what happens when we have denominators that don't work with clocks or money? Well, that's when double number line and ratio table comes into play. And this is when one of the denominators doesn't have a factor of 60 or 100. So let's head on over to slide 18. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's a word problem. How much farther did Annika walk than Kyle? Use number sketches or words to solve this problem. Well, here Annika walked 7/8 of a mile and Kyle walked 2/4 of a mile. Well, I know that I cannot use clocks or money to divide by 8. So I have to do a ratio table. So some ways that I can do a ratio table. Well, I first need to start by finding my common denominators. So in order to do that, I can do this two ways. I can multiply my denominators, so 8 times 4, okay, and I would get 32. Or I can find the multiples of both 8 and 4. The multiples of 8 are 8. 16, 24, 32. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16. So I can keep going, but I notice that both of these multiples have an 8 here because 8 is a multiple of 4. So instead of changing both my fractions, I got lucky here because one of the denominators is related to the other. 8 is a multiple of 4. So now for my ratio tables, I really only need to make one for 2/4 because I need to make my fractions so they both have the same denominator. So one fraction is going to still have 7/8. And my other fraction now, let's find out. I'm going to look at this 4. I know that 4 times 2 gets me to 8. So whatever I do to the bottom, to that denominator, I must do up top. So now I'm going to do 2 times 2, and I will get 4. So instead of subtracting 2/4, I'm now converting Kyle's mileage now. Kyle, instead of saying Kyle walked 2/4 of a mile, I'm saying Kyle walked 4/8 of a mile. Now I can subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. My denominator stays the same. I get 3/8 of a mile. Let's take a look at another problem. So let's go to, boom, here we go. We've got 3 1/9 plus 2 1/4. Now 4s can be used for money, for clock. You can use 4ths everywhere. But 9, we cannot. So we have to use our double number line or ratio table. So let's work with the ratio table. My first job is to find common denominators. So I'm going to multiply 9 by 4, and I get 36. So that is one common denominator I could use. Let's check my multiples to make sure there isn't any one smaller here. Remember, I'm just adding 4 every time. Sorry. Same thing with 9. Ooh, so 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. So I see that 36 is my lowest common multiple, and it's also my product of my denominator. So 36 is going to be my common denominator. All right, now let's ratio table this so we can change our fractions. I'm going to forget about my whole numbers right now, and I'm going to make a ratio table for 1/9 and for 1/4. And I want my denominators now to be 36. Okay, so here are my numerators and my denominators. So I want to start by looking. 9 times 4 gets me to 36. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do up top. 4 times 1 equals 4. So my new fraction is going to be 4 and over 36. So instead of 3 and 1/9, it's 3 and 4 over 36. That's my new problem. Plus 2, and we'll find out. All right, so now here I take a look. I've got 4 times 9, which is going to equal 36. So whatever I do the bottom, I have to do up top. 1 times 9 is 9. Now I have my new fraction. So instead of 2 and 1/4, I've got 2 and 9 over 36. Now we add them up. Let's start with our numerators. So again, our numerators are 4 and 9. So I'm going to add those up, and I am going to get 13 for my numerator. I worked so hard for that denominator, so it's going to stay the same. And now I'm going to add up my whole numbers, which are 3 and 2. When I add those up, I get 5. My answer is 5 and 13 over 36. If I wanted to use the number line, so before I move on, I want you to stop this video if the number line is confusing to you and you don't want to review it. Okay, so stop the video if number line is confusing and you don't want to review it. If you do want to review it, let's take a look. So when finding out double number line, I would do the same first steps. I would find my common denominator. And so we are going to still use 36. So I'm going to write this in a new color so we know it is a new strategy. Okay, so my number lines are going to go to 36, 0 to 36, because that is my common denominator. All right, so now let's take a look at our fractions. We've got 1/9 and 1/4. So we want to find 1/9 of 36, and we want to find 1/4 of 36. How we would do that is we are going to divide. 36 divided by 9 equals 4. So 1/9 of 36 is going to be 4. And then 1/4 of 36, I would do the same thing. 36 divided by 4, and I'm going to get 9. So 1/4 of 36 equals 9. My new fractions are going to be 4/36 and 9/36. So again, I will pull down my whole number. So instead of 3 and 1/9, I have 3 and 4 over 36 plus 2 and 9 over 36. I would add them up the same way I did before. I'm starting with my numerators, and I'm going to get 13 over 36 for my fraction. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So that is if you want to use the double number line. All right, let me know if you still need some help with this. Yeah.